Hi, folks. Hope everyone is doing great as usual, and wanted to share something briefly. I think that's kind of important too, as far as kind of learning to practice with spiritual abilities, I guess, or the ability to communicate. Something I've experienced and just wanted to put out there as well. I think it's important too because once you understand kind of the rules of how these things work, then it helps you understand kind of what you're going through as well, and can help with any confusion or frustration. But overall, just to kind of summarize, when you're using your five senses, and it's really mainly for everybody, it's different. So not really mainly, everybody uses their five non-physical senses, which are the same, sight, sound, feeling, for example, even smelling or tasting. All five of these can be used non-physically, just like with our physical senses. So when you're communicating with anyone in the afterlife, they are in the non-physical realms, the spiritual realms. So you're using your non-physical senses to communicate. Now, the more you begin to train that and become more sensitive to it, it's very possible that you'll start picking up on things all over the place. And I can speak from experience, so that can be really confusing and really frustrating sometimes. So training or learning that sort of thing can also be involved, or can also involve learning to ignore that stuff, basically, or try to practice silence, if you will, to try and shut that sort of thing out. So the reason is because, for example, everything non-physical energy, it's a massive interconnected ocean of activity, and it's around us at all time, and it's very much alive and very fluid. So especially say if you're around a lot of people or even animals or anything living, even non-living things, like pictures contain people's minds and souls, believe it or not, are also captured in a picture. So this sort of information, and it's not just there and stays in one place. It's very much like when you throw a pond, like a rock in the pond and the water ripples. Information can do that very easily, and it can carry out and it can bounce off or interact with other things too. So this stuff is very fluid and kind of active at all times. So this can cause two issues. One, what I tend to call energetic interference. So like when you are trying to communicate, then or use your abilities, this sort of thing can interfere and cause mixed messages or confusion, that sort of thing. So it's something that needs to be accounted for as far as accuracy goes. And the other is just try not to let it drive you crazy. So, because for a while, for a few years, everywhere, and it's still an issue, believe it or not, like sometimes I just want like a normal life, I guess, where you don't hear things all the time. But I've gotten used to it. So, but it's something that may not be for everybody, because it is something you have to get used to, just to let you know. And I know for some people it's an issue, some it's not. For me it is. But that's kind of how these things work, and it is a very real possibility, just to let you know, while you're practicing, when it comes to accuracy and possibly sanity, because you start being made aware of everything that's going on around you as you get used to it, and you have to kind of learn to tune out. It can be very distracting to you sometimes, even when you're just trying to watch TV or talk to somebody or read a book. It's crazy. So, but again, I've gotten used to it and it's gotten better. It's just like developing these sorts of abilities. That takes skill and time and practice, and so does learning to ignore it when you don't want it to bother you. Because just like when we're sitting here reading a book and you hear a noise somewhere, you see it and you might react. So it's just imagine that, but like tenfold, throughout the day, everywhere you go, you just hear and see all kinds of weird things, and it may not necessarily be anything physical. So distracting. But fair warning, I just wanted to put that up there out there. It's could be part of the challenge when it comes to developing this sort of thing. So hopefully that was useful. And but again, just to let you know, the sort of thing, knowing the fundamental truths and about where the sort of energy and information comes from helped me deal with it personally, because at a certain point, you're not really sure what's going on, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, and sometimes it might, and sometimes it can be so random and something that's there and occurring but isn't necessarily coming from the spiritual realms. For example, like if you're in here's a good example. Say you're in a movie theater and you're watching like a scary movie or something, and people are just thinking and watching and talking with each other. There could be things like kind of coming off them that you may perceive, like information. Remember, even if you're not thinking something, like if you're not thinking of seeing like say you're watching a scary movie and you're not thinking of a demon directly, but you're thinking about something related to the movie that may or may not be related to a demon, it connects with that in your database somehow, and this information could be emanating off of you because you're like in a mode of fear, and anything you relate to fear or spirituality could be kind of just rippling off you, believe it or not. And again, could be interacting with the field of energy around you. So that's a great example, because say you have a certain level of spiritual abilities, and you start seeing and hearing demons just like flying, screeching all around the movie theater. That's it. That's why it's not a haunted theater. It's not, in the traditional sense and everything. I mean, it may be in the moment because of this sort of energy interaction, but, or it's not, demons being sent by dark forces to take over the movie theater and attack the theater goers. Nothing like that, believe it or not, exists. There's no negative entities allowed to wander or attack or do anything like that purposefully and directly. This place is very protected, actually, and any sort of activity or visions or anything related to that, or like wandering souls or anything like that, any people you see wandering, none of that's true. It's being self-generated unknowingly by individuals, and it could be interacting and playing out around you with other fields of energy, like they play off each other too. And it could just be generating information. Remember, our souls are like databases. So I could be putting off energy, and it could be interacting with other people's energy and then creating like brand new energy and that sort of thing. And there's a process for that, believe it or not. Usually this energy dissipates on its own, or is either that or removed or attempted to be removed, that sort of thing. So there is a process in place for that, but it's important to know where it comes from again, and that it's not being sent from anywhere outside of Earth. So communication, visitation, everything like that is taken very seriously in this entire place. Souls aren't allowed to wander. There's no dark energy. Everything, again, is just generated from our own belief systems and the nature of this energy and how it operates. So I just wanted to share that again, and one more time, I hope it was useful, and as you move forward, that sort of thing, and hopefully it helps you if you are interested in this sort of thing, continue to learn about it, because it's great to know this and the underlying truth of it all, to kind of make sense of everything. So thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. And then any questions or comments or anything like that, I'd love to hear them, and subscribe if you love the video. And if you like it, thumbs up, and appreciate it again. Please take care, and we'll see you later.